Hello everyone, welcome to Nanawa's channel. This is the full version of the story I was kicked out of the house. Now I own the entire neighborhood. The rain was relentless that night, hammering the windows of the old Victorian house I'd called home for 19 years. My name is Ellie Harper, and this is the story of how I lost everything, before I took it all back, and then some. If you're watching this, buckle up, because this isn't just a story. It's a roller coaster of betrayal, grit, and the kind of comeback that'll make your jaw drop. Let's start at the beginning, the day my world fell apart. I was 6 when my biological parents died in a car crash. I barely remember their faces, just blurry snapshots of laughter and warm hugs. My stepdad, Tom, and my stepmom, Clara, stepped in to raise me. They weren't just guardians, they were my parents. Tom taught me how to ride a bike, cheering louder than anyone when I finally ditched the training wheels. Clara baked me birthday cakes, even when money was tight. Their love was the kind that stitched up the holes in your heart. This house, the creaky floors, the chipped blue paint, the backyard where I'd chase fireflies, was my sanctuary, until it wasn't. Tom and Clara died in a freak accident 2 years ago. A semi-truck lost control on the interstate, and just like that, my family was gone. I was 17, still in high school, drowning in grief. I thought the worst was over. I was wrong. Tom's relatives, his cousins, aunts, and a particularly venomous uncle named Ray, swooped in like vultures. They weren't family to me. They were strangers who'd barely visited. But they had blood ties, and in their eyes, that meant they owned everything. The will was clear. Tom and Clara left the house and their savings to me. But Ray, with his greasy comb-over and crocodile tears, contested it. "She's not even their real kid," he spat at the lawyer, as if I wasn't sitting right there. The others nodded, their faces twisted with greed. They hired a shady attorney, twisted the law, and exploited my age. I fought, God, I fought. But I was a kid with no money and no one in my corner. 6 months later, the court ruled against me. The house, the savings, everything was theirs. The day they kicked me out is burned into my soul. It was a Friday, gray and cold, the kind of day that feels like the world's giving up. I was packing my clothes into a duffel bag when Ray barged into my room. "Time's up, Ellie," he sneered, tossing a garbage bag at me. "Pack your crap and get out. This ain't your house anymore." His wife, Marlene, stood in the doorway, smirking. "What did you expect?" she said. "Some orphan girl thinking she's entitled to our family's money? Pathetic." I begged. "I'm not proud of it, but I did." "This is my home," I choked out. "Tom and Clara wanted me to have it. You can't just—" Ray cut me off. "Tom and Clara were fools to take you in. You're nothing to us. Get out before I call the cops." The others, cousins, aunts, watched from the hallway, not one of them speaking up. Their silence was louder than Ray's insults. I zipped up my bag, my hands shaking. The last thing I grabbed was a photo of me, Tom, and Clara at the county fair, all of us laughing with cotton candy smeared on our faces. I shoved it into my pocket and walked downstairs. Marlene followed, her voice dripping with fake pity. "Don't take it personal, honey. Blood's thicker than water." I wanted to scream, to tear the wallpaper off the walls, but I didn't. I just kept walking. The rain hit me like a slap as I stepped outside. I turned back once, hoping someone would stop me, but the door slammed shut. Through the window, I saw Ray already rifling through Tom's old desk, probably looking for loose change. I stood there, soaked to the bone, clutching my torn backpack. The streetlights flickered on, casting shadows over the house I'd never see again. Or so I thought. I walked away, the rain mixing with my tears. I had no money, no plan, no family. But deep inside, something sparked. A tiny, stubborn flame. They thought they'd broken me. They were wrong. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning. The first night on the streets was the worst. I wandered until my legs ached, the rain soaking through my sneakers. I ended up in a park, curled up on a bench, using my bag as a pillow. The cold bit into my bones, and every rustle in the bushes made my heart race. I kept thinking about Ray's sneer, Marlene's fake pity, and that slammed door. They thought I was nothing. Maybe I was, but I wasn't going to let them win. Days blurred into weeks. I survived by scraping together whatever I could. I washed dishes at a greasy diner for $5 an hour, the kind of place where the coffee tasted like regret. I handed out flyers on street corners, dodging creepy stares and snide comments. Some nights I slept in a shelter, clutching my bag so no one would steal it. Other nights, I didn't sleep at all. Hunger became a constant ache, but I refused to beg. I'd rather starve than give them the satisfaction of knowing they broke me. Pride kept me going, but it was also my anchor. I couldn't afford to look weak. I'd shower at a gym that let me sneak in, fix my hair in a cracked mirror, and tell myself, "You're still Ellie Harper. You're not done." I'd look at that old photo of me, Tom, and Clara, their smiles reminding me of who I was before the betrayal. I wasn't just fighting for myself, I was fighting for them. Then came Mrs. Delgado. She was a tiny, gray-haired woman who ran a rundown boarding house on the edge of town. I'd been sleeping in an alley when she found me, half frozen and too stubborn to ask for help. "You got a name, kid?" she asked, her voice sharp but kind. I mumbled, "Ellie." She didn't pry, just handed me a key to a closet-sized room. "Rent's $50 a month. Don't make me regret this." I didn't have $50, but I promised I'd pay her back. She waved me off, pay me by not giving up. Mrs. Delgado was a game changer. She'd seen hard times herself, widowed, cheated out of her. Savings, but still standing. Over cups of cheap tea, she'd tell me stories of how she'd hustled to buy her boarding house, flipping small properties to make ends meet. "Money's not magic, Ellie," she said. "It's math and guts. You got the guts. Now learn the math." She lent me dog-eared books on finance, budgeting, anything she had. I devoured them, scribbling notes on napkins, teaching myself how money worked. One night, flipping through a library book on real estate, something clicked. Houses weren't just homes, they were assets, opportunities. I remembered Tom talking about how our old neighborhood was up and coming. Maybe I could start there. I got a job as a receptionist at a small real estate office, answering phones and filing papers. It paid pennies, but it got me in the door. I listened, watched, learned. Agents talked about comps, flips, equity, words that became my lifeline. I saved every dime, skipping meals to stash cash under my mattress. By 20, I was studying for my real estate license, cramming at night while working 2 jobs. Mrs. Delgado cheered me on, slipping me extra coffee and hard truths. "You're not just fighting for a paycheck, Ellie," she'd say. "You're fighting for your life." She was right. This wasn't about money. It was about power, about never letting anyone take my future again. When I passed my license exam, I cried. For the first time since that rainy night. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I had no home, no family, no safety net. But I had a plan, and that was enough. That tiny room at Mrs. Delgado's boarding house was my world. Barely big enough for a cot and a desk, it smelled like mildew and regret. But it was mine. I'd taped a note card to the wall with 3 words. "You are enough." Every morning, I'd stare at it, then hit the ground running. My real estate license was fresh, but I was still a nobody. 21, no connections, no capital, just a chip on my shoulder and a hunger to prove Ray, Marlene, and the rest of those vultures wrong. I started at Pinnacle Realty, a small firm that smelled like stale coffee and desperation. My job? Cold calling leads and showing rundown apartments to clients who'd rather spit than sign a lease. The other agents, all slick suits and fake smiles, treated me like a kid playing dress-up. "Stick to coffee runs, sweetheart," one sneered. I smiled. Back, but inside, I was plotting. Every snub, every eye roll fueled me. I wasn't here to make friends. I was here to make deals. I studied the market like my life depended on it, because it did. I'd stay up past midnight, poring over listings, zoning laws, and property histories on a borrowed laptop. I memorized neighborhoods, tracked price trends, and eavesdropped on the senior agents' conversations. Slowly, I started closing small deals. $800 commissions here, $500 there. It wasn't glamorous, but every check was a brick in my foundation. I paid Mrs. Delgado back plus interest and saved the rest like a dragon hoarding gold. Then came the gamble that changed everything. A client passed on a plot of land in a bad part of town, overgrown, zoned for commercial, and priced like a pipe dream. The other agents laughed it off. Dead money, they called it. But I saw something they didn't. That area was near a planned highway expansion, and rumors of a new shopping center were floating. My gut screamed opportunity, but my bank account screamed caution. $10,000 down payment, all my savings. If I was wrong, I'd be back to square one. I took the leap. I scraped together the deposit, maxed out a credit card, and signed the papers with shaking hands. For weeks, I barely slept, second-guessing myself as the bills piled up. Then, 3 months later, a developer called. They wanted the land, for 5 times what I paid. When the deal closed, I stared at the check. $50,000 profit. I didn't cry or celebrate. I deposited it and got back to work. That win wasn't just money, it was proof I could play the game and win. With that cash, I started Harper Properties, my own company. Just me. A cheap office in a strip mall and a second-hand desk. I worked 18-hour days, chasing leads, negotiating deals, and learning to talk the talk. I flipped condos, bought distressed properties, and reinvested every penny. Clients started noticing, first small-timers, then bigger players. Who's this Harper kid, they'd ask. I let my numbers answer. By 23, I'd closed $2 million in deals. By 24, I was one of the youngest power players in the city's real estate scene. It wasn't easy. I ate stress for breakfast, dodged shady competitors, and ignored the whispers about my age, my gender, my past. But every time I wanted to quit, I'd think of that rainy night of Ray's voice. You're nothing to us. That memory was my fuel. I wasn't just building a business, I was building a legacy. By 25, Harper Properties wasn't just a name, it was a force. My office had moved from a strip mall to a sleek downtown suite with a team of 10 and deals closing left and right. I'd flipped houses, developed lots, and even landed a contract with a major retailer. The girl who once slept on park benches was now a regular in boardrooms, shaking hands with people who'd never guess I'd wash dishes to survive. But no matter how high I climbed, I never forgot that rainy night when Ray and his clan stole my home. That wound didn't heal, it fueled me. One morning, I'm sipping coffee, scrolling through listings, when a new one pops up. A block of rundown row houses in my old neighborhood, slated for auction. My heart stops. I click the details, and there it is, 1427 Maple Street. My house. The chipped blue paint, the creaky porch, the backyard where I chased fireflies with Tom and Clara. It's part of a 12-unit block, all owned by some failing landlord looking to cash out. I lean back, my mind racing. This isn't just a deal, it's fate. I dig deeper. The block's a mess. Leaky roofs, cracked foundations, tenants barely paying rent. Most investors would pass, but I know this street. I know its bones, its history, and its potential. That up-and-coming vibe Tom talked about? It's happening. New coffee shops, a tech startup moving in nearby, city plans for a rec center. This block's a gold mine waiting for someone with vision. Someone like me. Then I get the kicker. My assistant. Jen pulls tenant records from a contact at the auction house. I scan the names and my blood runs cold. Ray, Marlene, 2 of their cousins. Half the vultures who kicked me out are living there, renting units in that crumbling block. Life's been less kind to them. Failed businesses, bad investments, scraping by. They're tenants now, clinging to the same street they thought they'd owned. The irony hits like a freight train. I don't hesitate. I call my lawyer, my accountant, and my top investor. I want that block, I say. No one questions me. They know my tone. I work the numbers. $1.2 million for the lot. A stretch, but doable with my cash reserves and a loan. I don't bid personally. I use a shell company to keep my name off the deal. No way I'm tipping them off. The auction's a blur, competing bids, tense phone calls. But when the gavel drops, it's mine. Every unit, every brick, every memory. Mine. I don't celebrate. Not yet. This isn't about owning property. It's about owning the moment. I spend a week planning, dotting every I, crossing every T. Jen asks if I'm sure about handling the next step myself. Oh, I'm sure. I tell her, a smile creeping across my face. I've waited 6 years for this. I'm not sending a proxy to deliver the news. I want to see their faces when they realize who's holding the keys. The day the contracts are finalized, I stand in my office, staring at the deed. It's just paper, but it feels like justice. I slip into a tailored black blazer, grab the paperwork, and tell Jen to come with me. She's got her tablet ready, all business, but I catch her grinning. She knows this is more than a deal. This is personal. As I drive to Maple Street, the past floods back. Rain, betrayal, that slammed door. But I'm not that scared kid anymore. I'm Ellie Harper, and I'm about to rewrite the story. The drive to Maple Street feels like a lifetime. My hands grip the steering wheel, knuckles white as memories flood back. Rain-soaked sneakers, Ray's sneer, that slammed door. But I'm not that 19-year-old kid anymore. I'm 25, a self-made millionaire. And today, I'm the one holding the power. Jen, my assistant, sits beside me, her tablet loaded with contracts. She's all business, but I catch her smirking. She knows this is personal. We pull up to the block, a row of sagging row houses with peeling paint and cracked windows. My old house, 1427 Maple, looks like a ghost of itself, but it still twists my gut. I step out, my black blazer sharp, heels clicking on the pavement. Jen follows, carrying a folder of notices. The air's thick with tension, like the street. Itself knows what's coming. I start at Ray and Marlene's unit. The doorbell's broken, so I knock, hard. Marlene opens the door, her face sagging with years and bad choices. She squints, not recognizing me. "Who are you?" she snaps, her voice still dripping with that old venom. I smile, calm as ice. "I'm here about the property. New owner." Her eyes narrow, but before she can respond, Ray shuffles up, beer can in hand. "What's this about?" he grumbles. Jen hands me the folder. I pull out the deed, holding it up. "My company, Harper Properties, bought this block. I'm here to discuss your tenancy." Their faces freeze. Ray's mouth twitches like he's trying to process. Marlene's eyes dart to the paper, then back. To me. "Harper," she mutters. That's when it hits. Her jaw drops and Ray's beer slips, hitting the floor with a fizz. "Ellie?" Ray chokes out, his voice a mix of shock and dread. I nod, still smiling. "Been a while, hasn't it?" The air crackles. Marlene stammers. You can't be serious." "But I am." I step forward, my voice steady. "I'm here to collect rent. Or, rather, to inform you there won't be any. Your lease isn't being renewed." The cousins show up next, drawn by the commotion. They're older, grayer, but I'd know those faces anywhere. The same ones that watched me walk into the rain. They whisper, panicked, as recognition dawns. One, a weaselly guy named Carl, tries to play nice. "Ellie, wow, you've done well. Maybe we can work something out?" His fake grin makes my skin crawl. I don't blink. "This isn't a negotiation. You're out in 30 days. Marlene clutches Ray's arm, her voice shrill. "You can't do this. We've got nowhere to go." I tilt my head, letting the words hang. Funny. That's what I said 6 years ago. You didn't care then. Why should I now? Ray's face turns red. But he's got nothing. No power, no leverage. Just fear. Carl tries begging, his voice cracking. "We didn't mean it, Ellie. We were just protecting the family." I laugh, sharp and cold. "Family? You stole mine. Now you're tenants and I'm the landlord. That's the deal." I hand Jen the signal and she starts passing out eviction notices. The cousins clutch them, stunned, some tearing up, others cursing, under their breath. As I turn to leave, Marlene grabs my arm. "You're heartless," she hisses. I pull free, meeting her eyes. "No, Marlene, I'm fair. I'm the new owner, not your savior." I walk away, their whispers fading behind me. The block is mine now. And so is the past. The morning after the confrontation, I drive back to 1427 Maple Street alone. The block is quiet, the row houses looming like tired ghosts. My old house looks worse than I remembered. Chipped blue paint, flaking off, windows cloudy with grime, the porch sagging like it's given up. I park, grab the key from the deed packet, and step out. My heels feel out of place on the cracked sidewalk, but my heart's pounding like I'm 19 again, clutching that torn backpack in the rain. I unlock the door, and it creaks open with a groan. The air inside is stale, thick with dust and neglect. The living room is a mess. Stained carpet, cracked walls, a couch that looks like it's been through a war. But every corner screams memories. There's the spot where Tom taught me to tie my shoes, his big hands patient over mine. The kitchen, where Clara burned cookies but laughed it off, saying, "More for the birds." The stairs I'd race down on Christmas morning, their love wrapping me tighter than any gift. This was my home, until it wasn't. I walk through, my footsteps echoing. The pain hits hard. That rainy night, Ray's voice. "You're nothing to us." Marlene's smirk, the door slamming shut. I was a kid, grieving, and they tore my world apart. For years, I thought getting this house back would fix me, fill the hole they left. But standing here, I realize it's not about the house. It's about what it represents, the life I rebuilt, the strength I found, the girl who refused to break. Upstairs, my old bedroom is unrecognizable. Peeling wallpaper, a broken bed frame. I kneel, running my hand along the floorboard where I used to hide notes to Tom and Clara. My fingers find a loose board, and there it is, a folded paper, yellowed but intact. It's a drawing I made at 10, me between them, stick figure smiles under a rainbow. I clutch it, tears burning, but I don't cry. This house holds my past, but it doesn't own my future. I step outside, the weight lifting. Jen's waiting by the car, her tablet tucked away. "What's the plan, boss?" she asks. I look back at the house, then at the block I now own. Ray and the others are packing, their lives upended just like mine was. Part of me wanted them to suffer. But that fire's gone out. I won, not by hurting them, but by rising above. I'm keeping this house, I tell Jen, not to live in. Not to rent, just to keep. She nods, understanding. I don't need to explain. This isn't about profit or revenge. It's about claiming what's mine, so no one can ever take it again. The rest of the block? I'll renovate, sell, or lease. Business. As usual. But 1427. Maple stays empty, a monument to the kid who walked away and came back stronger. I take one last look, the drawing still in my hand. Some things you don't buy to own, I say, more to myself than Jen. You buy them so no one can steal them from you twice. I slip the paper into my pocket next to that old photo of me, Tom, and Clara. Then I walk to the car, the sun breaking through the clouds. That's my story, y'all. From nothing to everything. Not because I was lucky, but because I was stubborn. If you're out there fighting your own battles, keep going. Your comeback's waiting. Thanks for listening.